WSL champions.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Vic Akers Wonderland Podcast. Well, here we go. The last game of the WS season. What a journey it's been. We've had quite a few lows to start off with, a good run sort of middle, and I must admit, the landing is becoming a bit bumpier than I'd hoped. Two very bad losses in our last two WSL games means it's a winner-take-all shootout between us and Manchester United for that coveted spaces, second place in the WSL, result which means we win a lot for European qualification next season. I'm Adam Salter in the hosting seat once again, and of course I am joined by my co-conspirators, the lovely Lottie and the magnificent Matt in the hat, and he has his hat back, which is always good. Matt, how are you?
I'm not too bad, thanks. It's been a bit of a bumpy landing, shall we say. I think is the best analogy that I think we can all agree on, isn't it? It's been a bit bumpy the last couple of games, but we're going to look forward to the next one, that's for sure.
Yes, since our home win against Leicester City, when everything seemed rosy, we've lost 3 of our last 4 games in all competitions, which isn't ideal. But we are in a Champions League final, which is more than can be said for some other teams out there at the moment. Lottie, how are you? Are you looking forward to the last game of Emirates Stadium this season?
I need a win. I haven't had a win since Lisbon. Like, the boys are smashing my head into the floor. The girls are doing it. I'm like...
Leon, you mean, not Lisbon.
I need a win before Lisbon. Yeah.
Oh, before Lisbon, yes.
Before Lisbon. I haven't had a win since Leon. I need a win. Like, I was all good, cloud 9, right until that Tuesday night after when I went to go and see the boys play, and I was like, great. And I'll be honest with you, I knew there and then those boys weren't going to beat PSG. Full stop.
No.
I knew. I was like, we haven't got that out and out striker.
No.
It's downhill from here. And then Villa, and a sucker punch from Brighton. I was like, yeah, this is great. I need to win tomorrow. That's what I need.
We definitely something, especially to give us some momentum going into the European final, which is going to be 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks' time, we'll be flying out to Lisbon, which I can't
2 weeks' time. I should be in Lisbon around this time. So.
Yeah, which is an exciting thought, isn't it? I never thought I'd see us.
It is Friday night, and it's about 7:15 in the evening.
It is. It is. Yes, we are recording on a Friday, and we are recording on the 9th of May, a day which is very important because, of course, it is the birthday of our number 9, Beth Mead. Meadow, indeed. So, obviously, a nice, fun question to discuss. Favourite Beth Mead goal? Go.
Go on, Lottie, you go first.
Oh, for God's sake, why me?
No, okay.
I swear you two are sure. Catch me out swearing again. I'm sure of it.
Let me. I can't think of a. Actually, yes. North London derby. Vivienne Miedema. In the first couple of minutes, she plays a lovely through ball. Beth Mead goes in. No one marks her. No one closes her down. She just goes, right, okay, I'm going to have a shot. And she puts it in the back of the net. If we're going to talk about Beth Mead moments, lovely one at the 21-22. Yes, just before the Euros, I think. West Ham away, last game of the season. Fortunately, didn't win. And a little bit of a lovely moment where I've asked Beth for a photo. She's taken a photo of the roof. So I've got a lovely photo of Beth taking.
But not of you. It's the photo of the roof.
She's got a photo of the roof, but she's also got a photo of me and her with her. So it's something I'm quite fond of, and she's a great person to have.
She's a great player, but also a great person. Got a lot of love for Mead, and this season's been a bit harder for her. Obviously, Chloe Kelly's come in, and she's not been the fixture she may have been in previous seasons. Still, obviously, maybe not the 100% player she was before the ACL, but still a tremendous talent. Lottie, any standout goals, or as Matt said, memories of Mead that you?
It's got to be the Leon brace from 2019. Is it 2019?
2022. It was
2022.
Yeah.
Am I talking about? I've only been here for 4 seasons. I should know better. Yeah, it's got to be the braces for me. I think
100%.
One of my favourites might have been one night at Meadow Park. We were just on our way out, and Beth was in the south stand. We kind of took a punt and ran around the stewards and legged it. My mate's picked up his daughter and going screaming best name, right? He goes, "Thank you, you're the reason my daughter likes football."
Oh,
so funny. She actually stopped and told the security guy that hates me in particular, because I always stick it back on him, so to speak, as banter. She told him to sod off. She stopped and took a picture of us. It was brilliant. It was actually brilliant.
Yeah. She's always been one that will always go and sign the pictures and take the photos and do the selfies, and it's something that is sort of fading from the game, which I sort of understand, because there's so many more people.
These teenagers are crazy.
Yeah,
that same night, I also got a picture of Jordan Nobbs, and I literally turned round. Like, my mate's daughter was like probably 7 or 8 at the time. I've turned round. These teenagers have rushed me. She's hit her head off the bar. They just charged at her, and then Jordan walked off. It's ridiculous. I'm not surprised they're stopping it.
There is, you always see like 5 minutes before kickoff, everybody just rushes to the boundaries, and I saw it. We'll get onto the Brighton game, but at Brighton's ground, we saw that as well over in one of the corners. About 5 minutes before the end, and spoiler alert, we were losing, and there were fans that come from the stands were already getting their flags out across the advertising boards, wanting to get the pictures.
I think for me that really annoys me, because I remember being, I think it was, I can't remember who we were playing, but they'd oversold, and they weren't pushing people back into the stands, and there was like a crowd in front of the lower North Bank, the lower part of the North Bank. And someone started holding their sign up, and like I had to move back because I couldn't see anyway, because I'm only 5'3". I can't see over tall people. No. And conveniently, all these tall people, like yourself, Adam, have all stood right at the front of the rail. And I'm like, I can't see. So I've moved further back up. No, it's not even your fault. You're probably in your seat somewhere. I've moved up the back so I can see. There was no room for the smaller people to come up with me. Like 2 or 3 of us got up there, but then there was no room. And then someone was holding their sign up, and I went, "Oh, hey, put your sign down. Like, there's people behind you. They can't see." The look I got was just absolutely ridiculous, because I see this person on a regular basis at Arsenal. They will not look at me for it, and I don't care. But it's the consideration. You've got children behind you. Like, there was a whole like little football team on that front row that day, that under 12s or something like that, and they couldn't see because this full grown adult was standing there with a cardboard sign. I need to get rid of them.
I can understand kids with the signs and stuff, and it's nice when they show that it's a bit of they've made it themselves, a bit like an adult. It's to bring it back to more happy territory, Beth Mead memories. My one is it's one that, again, it's not one I personally sort of experienced at the time, but it's one that from a historical perspective, I've watched back, and that is in 2019, and it's an annoyance because I regret so much that I was never there. But it was at the Amex Stadium. Arsenal were in for the title. We just needed the win, and they battered Brighton 4-0. And Beth Mead scores this amazing. It remains my favourite Beth Mead goal, where she runs at the intercepted box, chops onto the right foot, and just smashes it top bins. My favourite of Beth Mead goal, and there's a really nice moment that, having scored that, she rushes over the touchline, and Jordan Nobbs is there in the stands, and Jordan Nobbs had a really good start to that season, was out then with an ACL, and she goes and celebrates with her as well, with her teammate, and sort of brings her into it. But it was just a brilliant goal, and it was what cemented me as a Beth Mead fan, that goal. And there's been many, many more since. You mentioned the braces in Lyon. There was that really good sort of run against Chelsea at Emirates Stadium. The Crots, they're it's a nice free kicks. There's a really good rocket. I remember, I think, at home to Aston Villa when we beat them 7-0. So many Beth Mead memories. And she's turned 30. It's been an amazing career at Arsenal. We will maybe discuss a bit more about that later. However, we will sadly have to go from that to more rougher territory, shall we say, stormier waters, and that is, of course, Brighton, as it happens, Brighton away. How appropriate. Sadly, not the 4-0 win for us. Instead, it was a 4-2 defeat. Bit of a shock. We should say, going into this game, I was quite confident, because up until this point, we never actually lost to Brighton in the league, and a win would have seen a secure second place. And on the team sheet, we had pretty much gone as full strength as possible. I think we all sort of compartmentalised the Aston Villa defeat because we'd gone heavy rotation, but this was back to the main team, with the exception of the goalkeeper because DVD is still injured. So Manu Zinsberger remains in goal, which on paper is fine because she's a very experienced goalkeeper, been with us for years. He's a very good keeper. Thoughts going into this one before kickoff? Confident, Lottie?
I think I was. I don't know.
Thought you were. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember the beginning of that game. But just Will Salah. I'm not impressed.
Lottie, Matt, you think you're both watching this at home? I got a last-minute ticket for this one because I realised I could actually go to this game because I was actually working nights down a Reigate way. So I thought, I'll go to the game and then do my shift. Might be regretting that now, given how it played out. I'll be honest, within the first 30 seconds, the warning signs were all there. Especially those you don't know, when we go to the away game, we all sing North London Forever. We all raise our scarves in the air. So the match kicks off, the players play, and we all sing North London Forever. I think we had to abort it about 30 seconds in because whilst we were singing it, CK charges through, rounds the keeper, and we're thinking, oh crikey, we're going to be a goal down whilst we're singing The Angel, which is going to be embarrassing. Thankfully not, but I mean, the first goal, it's Brighton, we know, is a high press team, and we did not help ourselves because we just kept giving the ball away. I think we had the ball in our own half. It's all fine, and then Leah passed that to Mead. Pocket gets picked. Kankovic off to Fran Kirby, edge of the box. I mean, Matt, it's a brilliant goal. It's a brilliant finish from Fran, and what we should expect because she's a very talented player.
It's a really good goal, but again, this goes down to one of my biggest pet hates in women's football is when the player's on the edge of the box, they've got all the time in the world that they can pick a shot out.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that if you see it in Sunday League or where in the men's game, if that player has the chance to shoot, that within about, I'd say 3 to 5 seconds, that player at least has got someone on them, or they've closed the angle to make it a little bit more tighter for them to not be able to have the shot. It doesn't happen in the women's game, and I don't know why. It's just, it felt very much like if you're going to allow that person to shoot, they're going to shoot, and they can do things like that. We know what Fran Kirby's about for England and in previously at Chelsea. She is a very dangerous player in and outside of the box. It was just so bizarre to be able to go, even if you look at someone like a Leah Williamson or maybe not Beth Mead at this point, but someone that's played with her, so Leah Williamson, you'd have thought, if you're right, okay, you're coming up against Fran Kirby. What's the one thing you don't give Fran Kirby? Time and space.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, because she knows it, pass the message on. Don't just say you've got this play. If you've got this play, you tell someone, look, you need to be marking her, or you need to go and push out and make sure that you cause either a delay or into the attack, or you deny the attack.
I think it's Chankovic, who we're going to mention a lot in this episode because she had a superb game. She's the one who sets up Fran Kirby. She's the one who storms towards the box, and Leah Williamson just backs off. And you've got to close her down. You've got to engage her, but she gives her all the space to charge the box and left Fran Kirby. And I'll say fair play to Fran Kirby. It's a brilliant finish. We were right behind. It was the goal we were behind, so we had a perfect view of it. And it's just the annoyance of it's a mistake and there's obviously a goal. But to be fair, it's been in the post because we were making a lot of sloppy mistakes. There was a moment when Mariona nearly did an own goal. She nearly scored with a pass back to the goalkeeper that almost went into our own net. But then by a freak of nature, it almost set up a brilliant goal for us. And Ford missed an absolute sitter, which, my head was on Mars at that point. Ford, however, did score. And for me, this was probably the high point of the game. I've got Lottie Mariona, who's been amazing for us this season, deep cross the back post. Ford on the volley. Bagley saves it, but Ford tucks it away. And it's been a pretty good last few weeks for Caitlin Ford.
It has been, and she's just been absolutely ruthless, and this is what we've been missing from her. We saw none of this last season. So I don't know what the hell has happened, but please do keep it up. Because we did give her, was it the lowest 2 last season? She's definitely opposite end of the scale now.
Yeah, her and Katie McCabe, we did rank rather lower, but she's had a much better season, and she scored away in Lyon. She scored against Leicester.
It's kind of amazing how one player can up another player's game.
Yeah,
and that player is Mariona Carvenzo. It's absolutely incredible. I don't know. We couldn't put our finger on it last season. Like, what was the problem for Caitlin Ford, and why she wasn't scoring, why she wasn't in the right place at the right time. But her being released onto the right, it seems to be working, and I don't want that to change.
Yeah, obviously, back at the start of the season, that was obviously the case. I remember that it was a similar goal. It was the reverse when she actually volleyed it against, I think it was Rangers in front of the North Bank, and that was a brilliant goal. Back on the left this time, but it was the same sort of trajectory, crossover.
Yeah, but she's developed to be able to play on both sides this season, and I love it because we know Beth can do it. We know Chloe Kelly can do it.
Yeah,
we need Caitlin to be doing it now as well.
It offers us a level of versatility, which is always welcome. At this point, Sterling Stadium thought, well, we got it to 1-1, and I was pretty comfortable with that situation, because I think back to the Villa game when we just weren't in it at all. We weren't creating anything, and Villa are battering us. But I thought, actually, no, we're in this one. We're creating good chances. Bagley's made some really good saves. Shout out to Sophie Bagley, had a brilliant game for Brighton.
I do think the last results against us with Villa and Brighton are going to make tomorrow's game very spicy between them.
Between us and Manchester United?
Oh, no, I'm talking about Villa and Brighton.
Oh, they're playing each other, are they? Oh, I haven't really paid attention.
It's going to be a good game. I'll be watching the highlights for sure.
It'd be interesting to see them both try to high press each other at the same time, because there's a lot of energy, a lot of pace, and obviously Villa are safe from relegation, so they can play with a lot more freedom. And I think we've seen that.
Yeah, but they're going to want to win. They've had a rough season, but Brighton play to win anyway.
Brighton have been very impressive.
I just think that game's going to be very, very spicy.
Brighton have very much been the best of the rest this season, and they've been very, very exciting. And we're not the only people to have a custard pie thrown in our face. This goal, though, the Chankovic goal, and again, it was in the stadium watching it. It was just exactly the same as the first one, just cheap cough up possession. Paris has a volley that Mariona takes. And if you're watching on TV, because I've been watching these goals back, it cuts to, I think in an angle, I think they're looking at Renee in the stands, looking at her iPad and doing some tactical stuff, cuts back to the footage, and suddenly, I think it must be 20 seconds after Manu had the ball in her hand, suddenly Brighton on the edge of her own box attacking again, because again, we've been turned over, again, we've been sloppy in front of our own goal. It goes up for a corner comes in, and this alludes back to what you're saying, Matt, time and space, closing the players down. If you watch it back, and it felt weird when we were in the stands. We had the ball clear. I think it's Freed heads ball clear, but we're all condensed in the 6-yard box. We've all gone right on top of our own goalkeeper. There's nobody in the penalty area beyond outside the 6-yard box. And you're watching it from the stand. You can see Chankovic has got her eye on the ball. She's running towards the ball, and you're just thinking, please hit Rosette, please hit Rosette, please hit Rosette. And she hits it perfectly. And because we're all in the 6-yard box, the keeper's unsighted, so she's not got a chance. And because we're all in the 6-yard box, we can't close her down. She has all the time in the world to watch it onto her foot and take the strike. Nobody's closing her down. Nobody's going in for the block. Hammers it past Manu. Matt, I believe there might be an issue with this goal, though. I think in the replays, there's a small bone of contention, shall we see. So I'll hand over to goalkeeper unit on this particular goal. Should it have stood?
It shouldn't, and this isn't about offsides or anything like that. It's just down to the fact that you are blocking goalkeeper, and it doesn't matter that it's happened. Actually, it's two things. She is offside, first of all, and also the fact she is interfering with play because she is in the line side of Manu, and it doesn't matter that the ball is going in. It's no matter what. It's not unsavable. It is. It's not going to be saved by Manu. Let's just put it that way, because of how well she's hit that. She's hit that.
It's unsavable. The goal is unsavable. It's
but the
power.
But the laws say that this shouldn't have stood, because I don't even think I know who it was. It might have been Poppy Patterson.
It was. I believe it was Torres Dottier who was. offside and potentially may have moved Manu out of the way of the shot.
This is the thing as well. We couldn't see, and the commentator didn't pick it up. The co-commentator didn't pick it up. So it's like, who is that? And you can't, even zooming in, you can't get a number or anything from the player. So you're just there guessing who it was. And no, it shouldn't have stood. And even then, you look at that, and at that point, it's 2-0.
2-1.
2-1. Well, either way, you're just saying, well, Brighton have been the better team. So that's fair enough. Yeah. But this goal should never have stood, full stop. And this is where we keep on going back to those arguments about referees and things like that. We don't want VAR because we can't have it at the moment. But at this moment in time, that would have been looked at, that would have been chalked off.
My mindset going at half-time, I would say, would be different to the Villa game. In the Villa game, I thought we were done, but I thought in this game, I thought, no, we're fine. I actually thought it was an improvement on the Villa game, just very frustrating with the sloppiness at the back, with the defensive errors. Brighton, we're playing into Brighton's hands. They're turning us over. They've had a few chances, but we've played quite well. And I think Bruce at the post, Bagley made some saves, but the game ends about, I think it's 9 minutes into second half, just 2-minute period, and the game's over. And I'm going to come back to you on this one, Matt, because again, it's goalkeepers union, and Manu, bless her, got a lot of penalties on this game. I think unfairly. I think the first 2 goals are worldies, and they can't, even with the potential offside interference, those goals were unsavable. My frustration is that the build-up is what, from our defence outwards, caused the issues. But this goal, Manu has a clearance, it's a poor clearance, and Brighton very quickly send it back into our own penalty area. Cankovic is onto it, and Manu, for me, hesitates. A bit earlier on, I think there's a ball over top. Paris is chasing it. Manu has to come out and sweep quickly, but she's frozen on the line. She's too slow. She does get there, but it should have been, cleared well up the pitch. And in this instance, when Cankovic in the box, she steps out and then she stops. She sort of commits and then gives up on it, and it just opens the door for Cankovic to lob. And I mean, is there any case for the defence of Manu for this one?
I in the defence of Manu, I would say that she hasn't played that many games, and when she has played, she has looked very not match fit, 100% match fit. And by the terms of that, if you look back on, say, when she was starting last season, if those sort of things were happening, she would be on it quite a lot. She'd be in that routine of being in there. But because she hasn't been able to get those minutes, it's one of those where, unfortunately, she's not been able to... her judgment... I think that's the best way to put it. Her judgment... she's second-guessing herself, and that's why she's misjudging things. Yeah. And it's not just down that. There'll be moments throughout those. You could probably point to a couple of games this season where she's done something similar. I think actually there was another pass in another game that nearly ended up in an own goal, and that was that. I can't remember which game it was, but it was one of those where Manu was in goal, or maybe I'm thinking of the Lea Cadena and Manu in goal.
Maybe, but it's hesitancy and she's it's just maybe second guessed herself.
That second, I know it doesn't mean a lot, but it was the difference between that being a closed down shot and blocking it, and Cankovic being able to chip it over Manu. It's a
superb goal. We should say fair play to Cankovic. I mean, both of the goals are absolutely brilliant, and it's ruthless. It's extreme ruthless, preying on the errors that on another day you might get away with. On another day, but it's just on this instance, it's a poor clearance from Manu. It's a brilliant ball back into the penalty area. We've been caught out because we've pushed up, expecting to play out, and we've been caught cold by the turnover. And Cankovic on the angle lobs it, and we're all speechless because we're at the other end of the pitch because change of ends. We're at the other end of the pitch. We can see it happening with distance, and we can't believe what's going on. And then our jaws are now on the floor because 2 minutes later the game's over. It's Villa all over again. It's the halftime sandwich, except this is with an extra bit of bacon sizzled on top. It's Seeker with a goal, and it's the simplicity is criminal. It's just one pass behind the defence. Siki outpaces McCabe, runs clean through. There's no blame on Marnie on this one because it's 1v1, and at that point it's a lottery. It's either straight at the keeper or it's blasting the top corner, and Siki blasts the top corner, and that's it. It's 4-1, game over. At that point, we thought, can we get something back? Unfortunately, it took us until the 90th minute to get anything else on the board. There were moments, we made substitutions. Vic Mead had a header that went wide, but Lottie, Mariona just gives us that slightest grains of hope. And it's in a game of so many of these goals were brilliant. I think there's about 3 brilliant Brighton goals, and we got a brilliant goal of our own for Mariona, and just hits this in the top bins. You're on mute, Lottie.
Goodness sake. Sorry. What can I well, I'll say what I said again if you can't lip read on YouTube. What can I say? Mariona only scores worldies at Crawley.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep, she did.
End of story.
Well,
I just the football intelligence on that to intercept the pass, I don't necessarily pick that up until it's a 1v1. But to kind of jump on the pass before it could be collected properly was just absolute genius, and it was something that we did need, but it wasn't. I don't want to say it, but it was too little, too late.
It was too little, too late. It was 3 minutes into injury time, and there was a fair bit, and obviously there was all the time wasting. And unfortunately, after that goal, it was probably the most threatening we looked in the entirety of the second half. I think there was a moment.
That's why Sophie Bagley sat on the floor.
Yeah,
we completely lost our rhythm. She knew what she was doing. I absolutely adore her as a goalkeeper, but she's a pain in the backside when she plays us.
There was a moment behind the goal. Rooster had a shot, and I was convinced that she was going to score. I was convinced. But yep, she's done it. She's rolled the defender. She's going to score, and Bagley pulls out this fingertip save. And at that point, it was. I mean, I think Stina hit the bar a bit later on, but that would have been right at the death. But if we had somehow clawed that back to 4-4, it would have been an absolute miracle, and it wouldn't have been the result we needed anyway. We needed the win to sort of seal our position. I like the idea that we are one clubbing with the men's team at the moment. We are both determined to chuck away second place as much. And look at that, we're both hands on our faces at the same time. Yeah, we're both determined to chuck away second place as hard as possible.
Like, I'm having a rough time. Can you please stop it? Yeah. You just rub it and sprinkling your salt in the wound, and it's not fun.
Well, salted by name, salted by nature. It's 4-2. It's another defeat, sadly. The XG's wild on this one, because I think we're about 3 and they're about 1, but we've the one that chucked in 4 goals and brilliant finishes, but at the same time self-inflicted, just sloppish from our defence, and which is really bizarre because I know, obviously, the Villa game was exceptional, but this was our first choice defensive line, and they've generally been okay for most of the season. This was a very, very bizarre performance and a bit worrying going into the Manchester United game, which we shall get to in a bit. But first, we should go talk about some positive news. We're still talking about Brighton. But some good news about Brighton. It's about Michelle Adjumang, because she has won Brighton's Young Player of the Season. So a bit of a round of applause for Michelle Adjumang. So looking over to next season, do you keep her or do you loan her? Does she become an Arsenal striker full time next season, Matt?
It depends on Stina.
It does.
See, I think Lottie's still on the point. What is going to happen with Stina? Because
we've already lost Lena Hartig and Amanda. And
well, that was the next thing. My next point of call.
I'm sorry. Did I steal your thunder again?
Of course, and rightly so.
Yeah, if I was looking towards it, I think Stina needs to go out and find herself a new club. Just because she needs to be playing full minutes, she can't be playing part time and in and out, or like say not group stage. The knockout games of a League Cup game against Aston Villa, for example. She can't keep doing that.
Yeah,
and as much as she's been the bane of Man City, and we love her for it, I think it's time that I think we're going to see this summer a lot of moves that were not expected. And if Stina does go, I don't think it's unexpected, to be honest.
No, I don't think it's either. I would like to see Michelle Adjumang given a go, and I think being an understudy striker to Alessia Russo would be a a good opportunity, but it'd be quite the step up as well.
Got to give her a chance now. I think Michelle's earned that opportunity. She wasn't really playing many minutes at the start of the season. At one point, when I did when I was doing a writing piece on it, I worked out she was only playing 14 games and only scored 1 goal, and that was against Tottenham, I think. So it just goes to say you can't take the Arsenal out of the goal. But
no, absolutely.
There's a striker in there, and I think what also helps, not only she's young, she's also quite versatile, because I think she's been playing a little bit more on the wing as well.
I think she can play across the forward line. I think she can be a forward and she can be a winger. And I think she scored some goals recently. I think she scored against Liverpool, I think, as well.
Yeah, she got goal of the month award, didn't she?
Yeah. And she scored for England as well. She's already got her first England goal, and that was pretty good against Belgium, albeit in a defeat. As Lottie,
in 45 seconds. Do not forget that. It's very important.
45 seconds off the bench. As Lottie rightly mentioned, it is a bit of a sad day for Arsenal, because we are saying goodbye to some players. Taya Goldie, Amanda Ilestedt, and Lena Hurtig will be departing Arsenal at the end of the season. I don't think that's too much of a surprise there. I don't think there's anything that leaps out there as anything bad. I mean, Taya Goldie has been on loan with LCL, which we'll touch on a bit, but she's been on loan there. She's done great things there. I think we can probably see which way her career is going to go on that one. Amanda's obviously come back from pregnancy, and big congratulations to her. I think the general consensus was that she was very much a short-term signing to cover the fact that Leah Williamson was out injured with the ACL. I think she done it role pretty well. And of course, Lena Hurtig, which is just one of the great tragedies, I think, tragic signings of our club so far. Just not been available, just not been fit. But I will come to you, both of you. Any happy or outstanding fond memories of their times at Arsenal that jump out to you? Any moments you look back on and with a bit of a smile? Matt?
I think if I go with Lena Hurtig, I think the goal against Juventus to secure the 1-0, I think that one's the most important one, because that's the one that puts you into a really good opportunity that in the group going into that Munich game, knowing that you need to get something out of it, and the fact that Valencia had already basically knocked out Juventus as well at home and things like that. It all added to a great group stage, and unfortunately the group stage isn't going to be there anymore. It's now going to be a league phase in next season. So we're not going to have those fond memories of a Lena Hurtig-esque header to win a game 1-0 at the end and put you almost through to a
we'll just have different fond memories, won't we? That'll be the thing. I did love that Lena Hurtig story at the moment, because it felt like she had her Arsenal moment, and I don't think she's not been able to have that for a while just because of the injury. But there was the one game that she was a difference maker, and it was the most Lena Hurtig of Lena Hurtig goals, and absolutely loved it for her. And she was the hero on the night, and she fully deserved that. And I remember being that, because me and Lottie were there for that one, and it was absolutely freezing cold, and it looked like it was going to end, in a 0-0. But we got it over the line, and obviously with Bayern Munich drawing in Valencia, put us in the driving seat for the group, which we won.
If I want to give a shout. Sorry, Adam, just quickly. I'll go over the other two. Taya Goldie, I think the only one I can really think of is in that Mind Cup series thing that they did after lockdown.
Yes.
They all come onto the pitch, all the young guns, Alec Hennessy and Hussein, all of them, and Taya Goldie put in a really good performance in that one. And I've got a good couple of good memories of Amanda Ilestedt. I think one of the things that probably stood out is her character when she signed, and they're all in the ACL club rehab room, and she just sort of looks so sad and sort of already motherly like towards them. So she's been a great addition. I think it's just a shame that it was so short, but hopefully there's going to be some silver lining for her.
My favourite Ilestedt moment will always be her goal against Chelsea in the Emirates Stadium when she beat Berger in the air to put us 2-1 up on the day. Obviously got a bit better, even better after that, but that goal to go 2-1 up was a peak Ilestedt, and that's what brought her just the runner-up for the Golden Boot at the World Cup, and there she was heading the goals in. I want to shout out to Taya Goldie. never really saw her play, but I was fortunate enough to meet her for the Liverpool game last season at home. We lost, but she was they were doing an event in the box, and I was lucky enough to get invited, and she was up there doing signatures and stuff, and I got my picture of her. And it is just one of the great tragedies with Goldie that she had 2 ACLs at such a young age. It just robbed her of the opportunity to break into the team when the moment was there for her. With all the injury and defence, it was the moment for Taya Goldie to take off, and she, knackered both her knees, sadly. But she is back at LCL, doing well. Lottie, any standout moments for you?
It's got to be Lena's goal against Brighton in the 5-0 win at Emirates.
Yes.
She's on the pitch in 4 minutes, and I've got some amazing pictures from that day. That is definitely my favourite goal out of the 7 she did score in 36 games.
Yep.
It's been 362 days since we'd seen her. So it was just great to have her back. And then I think for me, Amanda, it's just any time she was up in the box with Dina, it was that reassured height for the heads.
Yeah.
I think we were in the No More Red kit, and it was against Watford, the header.
Yep. Yeah.
I've actually got that on camera frame by frame, and it's one of my favourite set of photos I've ever taken of her. From the North Bank, you can actually see the ball progress into the goal. It's so bloody brilliant. And as for Taya, I've only really seen her play for London City Lionesses, and you could see it kind of coming that she wasn't going to stay at the club. She's an established defender there. She took on Alessia Russo with no fear. And I can't wait to see what she brings next season, because she's that old. She gives me that old school sort of defender vibe, and I love an old school defender rather than the sort of newer age ones. So yeah, best of luck to her if she does stay at London City Lionesses.
Yeah, it's a good point. Remember that FA Cup game we had, the LCL there. She
even took on Katie McCabe, and a lot of people fear that girl. She had no fear. Some of the, again, I'm going back to my photographs. Some of the shots I have of them, and Taya taking on Katie and Russo, even Beth, and it's just absolutely incredible.
That was
I'm excited,
people.
bro.
Yeah, people were picking up Taya Goldie. People were telling me she's like the next Leah Williamson, and just sadly like Leah Williamson, she broke into the team because there was a gap in the squad, which is how the club was at the moment, and she was able to break in and become the star she was. And just sadly for Goldie, it just never came for her. But I think she's going to do great at LCL. You raised a good point about Ilestead. We really missed that height presence at set pieces and corners. That's
why we cannot lose. We cannot lose Stina. I won't hear it because we won't have it. I'm afraid. Just that will be the key thing that's missing from the men's team as well.
Yeah,
and that men have gone without it for so long. I don't really want to be in that position with the girls.
No, but yeah, I remember Rafaeli, I think it was 2023, and then Ilestead the season after, they had that set piece presence, and we just we need to find that again. Speaking of Goldie and LCL, London City Lionesses are promoted. They are into the WSL for next season. Exciting times. Matt, the WSL is going to change forever, isn't it?
No.
No, you don't think so? You don't think?
No. And I thought you were going to be talking about the actual news about the relegation being stopped altogether.
That's next. Don't worry, that's coming up.
Lottie's just shaking her head at us. I was just like, what's going on?
London City Lionesses are a club that is solely a women's team.
That is not what I needed to hear tonight. Thank you for that, boys.
This is
by Michelle
all about...
Kang.
Go on, Adam. Just explain it a little bit.
So London City Lionesses, it's a unique club because it broke away from Millwall. It used to be part of the Millwall group, with the men's team. It's gone independent. It's London City Lionesses. It's owned by Michelle Kang, who obviously owns the Washington Spirit and the Lyon as well. Olympique Lyonnais, and she's massively invested in the team. It's basically become a WSL side that's been playing in the championship because you've got the likes of Aslani playing in there. I think it's Sophia Yakutin in there as well. Kumagai, I think she's just a Japanese captain. Taya Goldie, Freya Godfrey's been playing there as well, I think on loan, and it's just been a very high quality team, WSL quality in the championship. And the goal is unlike the likes of Birmingham's, Bristol City, and Crystal Palace, they're a side that want to get promoted but also stay in the WSL. And I think there's a consensus that they are going to be a side that is going to throw a lot more money at this team than maybe other teams that have come up, and might just ruffle a few of the WSL sides who have been a bit sort of relaxed about their position in the league.
Do you know what? I'm going to say it now. Next season, either Spurs or Aston Villa are getting relegated. End of story. It won't be West Ham.
No.
I always back West Ham.
I know.
It looks like West Ham,
and I've been impressed with them this season.
Yeah,
it took them a while,
amazing.
but they finally found their footing at the end of it. But just back to Adam's original question to me, I don't think so, and that's the point of if you throw a lot of money around, it doesn't always work. If you look in the men's game, for example, QPR tried it and got instantly relegated.
I'm surprised you didn't go for Manchester United because they're the prime example right now.
Yeah, they haven't been relegated yet, though.
But they haven't finished in the lower league, the lower end of the seasons. I'm still waiting for that.
Have you seen the table for this season and where they're finishing? They're finishing below Spurs.
The men's team, yeah.
The men's team. Oh, right, yeah.
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 That's a prime example.
But I thought if you're talking about the women, if you're talking about the fact that their funding's basically fairly non-existent, they're still managing to keep it into the top threes and things like that. So it's a real surprise, but still waiting for that moment where it doesn't go as straightforward for United as they think it's going to be.
Do you think LCL will stay up, Matt? I think.
Yes, I do think they will, but I don't think they're going to see it as a. They're going to see it as a bigger challenge than they think they are. They're going to have to go to. I could see them giving Chelsea a good run for their money. I can definitely see that. I don't think that. I think they'll definitely.
You've mentioned in Chelsea and the London City Lionesses. Did anyone see the comments that Sonia Bompasta came out with today?
No. What did she say?
Apparently it was a joke, but I didn't.
It doesn't sound like a joke the way she said it. So hang on. I'm just pulling the tweets up from Emma Saunders. She's quoted it directly.
Roughly around about transfers and things.
There we
like
go.
That.
Sonia Bompasta on no, that's Sophie Ingle. Never mind. Hang on a second.
Okay,
I'll find it in a minute. Come back to me.
Yeah, Sonia knows Michelle Kane very well as well because they used to be at Lyon.
Essentially, she just sort of joked that if go to Man City, Arsenal, Man United for players, don't bother coming to Chelsea. Basically, around that sort of area. It shows you a bit of arrogance, to be honest, from Sonia Bompasta because it's not within. Well, I'm saying this as I don't know Chelsea's transfer, but it's not within. The manager has the say at the end of the day. The manager might only have like a 10% say in these sort of things about where these players go. At the end of the day, if they've got a contract ending, I think Zahira Musovic's contract is up. So imagine if London City Lionesses get Musovic at the end of for the new season.
I think London City Lionesses are going to pick up quite a few surprises in the summer transfer window.
But it's about if they can all come together, first couple of months. If they can work together and bond together, then they've got a good case for it. Whereas I think what happened with Palace this season is Anna Blanchard had an ACL and she was scoring all the goals in the championship. And unfortunately, it's not happened. So. Be interesting to see as well, Missy Goodwin as well. See what happens with her.
Yes, and if you haven't already, check out on her goal against Birmingham City.
That was a rocket.
Brilliant goal, and one on the way to obviously getting them the draw that saw them over the line. Some award ceremony. Alessia Russo has won the Football Writers Association Women's Footballer of the Year. So big congrats to Russo. Just very quickly, thoughts on Russo's season. It's been a big step up from last season, Lottie.
Massive. I mean, her ceilings are so high. Listening to the interviews and things, she's always looking to pick up her game and make it like always eager to learn, which is exactly what we want to be hearing. And hopefully she can take her football to the next level because she was better than she was last season. She's better than she's ever been at Man United as well.
Yep.
Adam predicted this.
Yeah, I said this season. This was one. I've obviously got my own personal, hope for Russo, local hero for us. But I was underwhelmed last season, and I think this season we're now seeing more of the strike I was hoping to see last season, and this is promising if Russo can sustain this growth and development in the side, and it looks like she's becoming more and more front and centre now that Miedemar's gone. She's now become the main primary striker in the team, and I think we're starting to see the best of her. Just need to maybe in the summer get some more players in that can help support her, some wingers or some players in the midfield. But very, very promising signs. at the moment tied with Bunny Shaw on 12 goals for the WSL Golden Boot race. He's ahead of Shaw by nature of fact she's had one more assist. So hopefully she can get that over the line, and that'll be a really good achievement for her to win the Golden Boot. Some news coming out on the wider world of football. The Women's World Cup will be 48 teams. It has now been officially expanded from 30 to 48. So brilliant, more football matches at a tournament. Who could possibly say no? And relegation will not be scrapped from a WSL. It's been confirmed after there was a debate. There was a worry. Yes, celebrations all round. There was a leak potentially. They were going to suspend it, but no. Apparently that's off the table.
Like, I'm sorry, we're not the NWSL.
Yeah.
We've got our own system. Don't ever get rid of relegation battles.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, people are just going to lose interest. I know it's entertaining for the NWSL, but for me, I can't imagine football without relegation.
The drama of it all, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going into that last day, you want that buzz. You want to go, oh, who's going up, who's going down, who's going to be hitting Champions League.
It's more about going to somewhere different to watch my team.
Yes, you don't want to
I've
get
finally done the final calculations. I've been going to football for 25 years.
Wow.
I've seen only 80. Bearing in mind the women's games, I've only been to 85. My win rate, success rate is 65, which is absolutely bloody brilliant. But in total, I've been to about 879 Arsenal games in total. And does anybody want to take a stab at how many stadiums I've been around
50.
the world? Higher.
You've got the 3 digits, haven't you? So I'm going to go with 100, 108.
Oof, very close.
110.
107.
Oh, there we go.
107 on the dot. So I'd like to get up to that 108, hopefully, with the London City Lionesses.
That would be good. That would be very, very good. So you've got, and they said relegation not be scrapped. I mean, there's more debate still to be had. I mean, for me, there's things I want is more relegation spots, playoffs for promotion, and a bit expanded league. And I like the fact that they are obviously discussing possible changes and are dismissing changes that people don't want. So fingers crossed they can get something over the line there. We'll now move on to Arsenal versus Manchester United. Some few keynotes. I believe 45 to 50,000 tickets have been sold already. That's a ballpark figure, which is promising. It will be live on BBC Two, 12:30 kickoff. Sky Sports are covering the Chelsea-Liverpool game because they're going to be showing the trophy being lifted. This is obviously the frenetic, exciting race for top 2. Just a quick shout, I wanted to mention on some of the players. Obviously, the departures have been announced, but there are some players we believe still or maybe out of contract going into the final game, which are Mead, Manu, maybe Leah Velti. We're not too sure on that one, but I believe
Victoria
Mead
Pelova. Did you
Pelova, yeah. So
sorry, just sure.
I believe that on the Manchester United again, there'll be a chance, as there usually is, there was at the Bristol, the Brighton game, home game last season. There'll be a chance to say goodbye to the players that we know are leaving, which will be nice. And obviously, I hope people who are there give them the round of applause they deserve, and hopefully the other players in question are sticking around and will be signing contract extensions. We have to wait and see. As I mentioned earlier, win or draw for Arsenal secure second place. Should see I'll be at this game, which doesn't bode well because I have never borne witness to Arsenal win over Manchester United when I've been in the ground. The last season, obviously, we won 3-1. I think, Lottie, I think you were there for that one. Obviously, it's a big record attendance. I wasn't there because I was working. I missed out. So, and I was at the LSV early this season when we drew 1-1. So, not good vibes. Last WSL game of the season. Thoughts on the season? It's been, as I said earlier, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. We maybe have fallen a bit flat in the last 2 games, but up until then, I mean, 2 different managers. Lottie, any thoughts on how we've been so far?
I'm glad the finishing line's in sight. I'm so bloody tired. I've done so much football since January. I'm like, okay, I need a break now. Stop, because when the men stop, the women are back, and then it's vice versa. And it's just like, I'm here, I'm present. But yeah, no, I'm ready. I'm ready for that break. I'll be bored within 2 weeks, guaranteed.
Well, luckily within 2 weeks, you got the European final, so you have got that to pep you off again.
No, I meant when all footballs finish at the end of May.
Oh, right, yes.
Within 2 weeks, I will be bored.
The Euros is starting in July, so not that long.
Matt, any what your thoughts?
Long enough, though.
Yeah, what's your thoughts been on this season, Matt? It's been
it's been a real emotional roller coaster, I think, because there have been times of this season where I've been either just sitting at home thinking, what the hell's going on, when Arsenal 3-1 down to West Ham, and but there's times where you look at it and the games like the Real Madrid going and beating them 3-0 at home, and then having to do a very long bus ride afterwards, which I will never do again. But it makes everything that you do, every single game that you go to, special. And this season I've been fairly lucky with the games that I've gone to, that I don't believe Arsenal have lost any of the games that I've gone to.
Well, can you please come down for this one? You're obviously our lucky charm.
But,
hang on a second. You was at Lyon.
Oh yeah, in the league. I don't think we've lost.
Please be specific.
Super League, not Champions League.
In the Super League, yeah, but in the Champions League, I seem to have rotten luck with Champions League. I think I'm still expecting.
Don't come to Lisbon.
I was trying to work it all out. Unfortunately, I'm not full stop. I won't be able to go to Lisbon. It's just one of those things that unfortunately it's not going to happen. So, but me and the Champions League, for whatever reason, don't get along well. The game against Munich, the game against Wolfsburg, the game against Lyon, 3 losses, 1 win, and that was the Real Madrid one. So make of that as you want. But our next season, I won't be going to any Champions League games because of the way the fixtures fall.
Just on this on Champions League as the season, if we, despite everything that's happened, would you see the season as a success if we finished second? Would it be seen as a failure if we finished third, given how we sort of had this season been going?
If I'm honest with you, if we go back to that wonderful Chelsea game, was it November at the Emirates?
Yes.
Yeah, the one we lost.
If you told me we'd be in this position right now at that point in the season, I would have laughed at you.
Yeah,
I would have laughed in your face and told me you're messing around with me.
Yeah.
It was absolute shambles at that point. And we spent most of December getting back on our feet, and then all of a sudden our season took off. A bit late, but better late than never. And to be in this position right now, it's been a good season, but I can't say it's successful because we haven't won anything
yet.
I think that's the problem.
That's another conversation for another day.
Yeah.
The change of manager halfway through the season. It didn't also help that the Arsenal kept on stalling about the manager position. That should have been wrapped up. Usually you see a manager position to be sorted out within the first couple of weeks. I mean, Palace had their manager sorted out within the first 24 hours of the appointment.
Yeah.
And the announcement of sacking. So, sorry, I forget the manager's name.
We can on how long it takes, but I'd rather the right person, regardless of the amount of time it takes. And I think we've picked wisely so far.
You've chosen wisely.
I think the problem is that there has been a pool of coaches that haven't been available that bring that extra level. I don't want to say what I want to say because I'm going to upset a lot of people if I say it, because
spit it out.
It feels very much like a safe option, and it felt. I said it at the time when she was appointed that it was what the fans wanted and the players wanted. It wasn't a logical move. It wasn't like going out and getting like a Serena Weigman, for example. It wasn't about going and getting that winner. I'm interested to see what will happen next season with Chelsea with Bompastor at the helm, because it seems very much like Chelsea can go out and spend like £1 million on Germa, and look at her. Germa's only played less than 5 games this season, and she's managing to pick up a medal, which doesn't make sense to me. It's just one of those things where.
But you can also say the same about Kira. Well, she's back, and you just don't notice she's back.
Yeah,
she's won a trophy this season.
At the end of the day, it's about getting the right players and the right thing. And I think this summer's going to be the big one, because it might be Renee has a bit more of a say on what she wants for the team, what her ideals are. And then you could say maybe within the first couple of weeks, even if there's a pre-season, for example, whether or not the mini tournament happens, that might depend on what happens with that. That in itself, the fact that we went from the mini tournament all the way to the final, that's a first.
That's never done before. ideally, I'd rather avoid the mini tournament altogether if we can get the second place.
because of what happened last time around against Paris, obviously, the penalty situation.
Just going
but
into
then you get Europa Cup next season if that does happen. So.
Just going to this game, so it's confirmed. Daphne Domstal sadly still not available. So hopefully they should be fit for the final in 2 weeks' time. Kate Reed isn't available either. Believes she picked up a knock against Aston Villa, and of course Lena Hurtig also not available. So running through the team is obviously Manu will be in goal. Hopefully she had a chance to sort of sharpen up a bit, and hopefully the defense is sort of ready as well. Can you see any changes at all in the outfield from the Brighton game? Lottie?
I switched Steph for Lotta for this one.
I like your thinking.
Steph looks very tired at the moment, and you look back at that Brighton game and it's the mistakes she doesn't normally make. So I'd give Steph a rest and get Lotta out on the field for a bit, and then maybe sort of switch Steph in later so we don't reduce her minutes too much, but just enough so she doesn't make kind of silly mistakes.
And potentially keep her fresh for the Barcelona game. I mean, Steph's been great as a left-sided centre-back option.
She's been brilliant this season, but she didn't look right at Brighton. No. So that's the only thing I'd change on that back line.
Matt, would you make any alterations? Maybe in the attack at all?
I think we'll see Chloe Kelly start. That's nothing against Bethany. This is going to be Chloe Kelly's last WSL game for Arsenal on loan. So,
but it also could be Beth's last game.
Don't
want to say that. But...
Fun fact about Bethany: she's never scored against Manchester United. She hit the woodwork a few times, but she's never got a goal for Arsenal against Manchester United.
Hopefully tomorrow will be the day then.
I'll be interested to see what else happens with midfield. I think. Do you go for? I think we need to go for a defensive display. So that probably means that Leah Volti will probably start. But then, do you go with Little and Volti, or do you go with Mariona instead? But I still don't like the fact that Mario's coming in and playing in that sort of. I don't want to call it a six or. Yeah, I'd rather see her. I want to see her higher up the pitch. I want to see her in that, if anything, in that attacking midfield role, or if needs come must on that left wing where she's putting the crosses in. I don't like it when she's that deep, but if she's doing that deep, it means that something's gotten seriously wrong.
You mentioned Chloe Kelly, just the one goal on her loan spell so far, but she's popped up with some crucial assists from the wing. Very popular with the fans, I think it's fair to say. And I think Renee, sees her as her primary winger over Mead at the moment. If you had the option coming into the summer and it was on the table, would you take it for to upgrade from a loan to permanent? Matt?
Well, originally when you asked the question post-January transfer window, I said that she was going to be a bit of a miss, and in that respect, the fact that she hasn't scored many goals, not her own fault, because of the fact that Arsenal played Man City and back to back, and basically Arsenal can play her for about a month, which is ridiculous in itself. I hope that something gets looked at in that terms. But in terms of what she's given, I mean, the fact that if you go back to some of the games that she's been so important, the Real Madrid game, for example, I think it's 2 assists. It's things like that where I think she's now opened up her mind a lot more, and that's probably she's looking at as if to say, I think that's going to be a possibility that I'm going to keep coming back. It's all going to be, but it's a case of what else are the club going to do as well. Because
obviously we've lost Lena Hurtig, so we need to find another winger again.
Ideally, that means that you need to have someone that's also available to play on the left and the right, which Chloe can do. Which means you could potentially have Kelly Mead or Kelly Ford sort of, and
Ford Mead.
You just rotate. You just rotate who's going to be on the bench each week, and that I think that would probably be I think a lot of fans would buy into that. I think a lot of the players would buy into that as well, because if, for example, Caitlin Ford's on the other side of the world coming back, and you've got Chloe and Beth on both wings, then easy rotations. If they've only had a short trip to Portugal or Spain or wherever they've been for the internationals, it would give Caitlin Ford a little bit more time to rest and relax, and maybe not get as grungy as sometimes she does seem post international.
Lottie, any Chloe Kelly thoughts before we wrap up?
I think the Chloe Kelly situation is going to be interesting to monitor over the summer. I do kind of agree with Matt on that, on the like rotation and things, but I think it also keep Caitlin Ford on their toes. It'll keep them all on their toes to know that their spot is not secured.
Yeah.
As we know, our Beth likes to be teacher's pet. Viv has said it, and she hasn't exactly been that this season.
No, she's not been the favourite.
No, she hasn't been, and it's been a fair amount of rotation. I've quite enjoyed it this season. I miss seeing Beth starting all the time, but we just can't exactly place what's going to go on the wings anymore, and it's not predictable. And I quite enjoy that. So it all depends on how Chloe feels about coming back to London from Manchester.
Yeah,
and that was the major factor for her at the time of her signing.
Well, Kelly,
we know Brighton was too far away.
Yeah, we know Kelly wanted to find her smile again, and I think we can all agree that she has most certainly found that at Arsenal.
Oh, definitely. Becoming friends with Katie McCabe, yeah.
Oh, that's been glorious. It's been glorious. So just to quickly wrap up this very brief preview on Manchester United. Score predictions very quickly. Matt, any?
Well, I saw 4 Magpies, so I'll go 4-0 Arsenal.
Wow, that's okay. Lottie, any score predictions?
I'm going to go 3-2 to Arsenal unless Russo scoring the winner.
I tell you what,
the last time this season, and I'm sticking to it.
I am manifesting a Russo goal again against Manchester United, because it was very funny when it happened at the LSP. I am going for a 1-1 draw, Russo to score. Simply because it's the result we need, but Arsenal never beat Manchester United when I'm in the room. So I'm thinking a 1-1 draw, and Russo gets us an equaliser, and we end up finishing second, and that rounds off the season. And to be honest, second place in the league, a Champions League final to look forward to. I think that we'd snap our hands off if we were offered that at the start of the season. I think we can all agree, and let's hope that's indeed how it pans out. Before we wrap up for the last WSL preview of the season, a quick shout out for our socials. You can of course find us at the VAW Pods on the Twitter and Blue Sky, and obviously on YouTube as well. So do give us a like, comment, subscribe. Matt, where can we find you?
You can find me at MattLR28 on every platform: Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky.
Lottie, where can we find you?
Interesting story.
Yes.
Hijack. It's now got a different name on it, and it's just like, okay, fair enough. I'm trying to regain all my followers, so I have actually reclaimed my own handle, which is absolute madness, by the way. It's Lottie_AWFC, Twitter, Instagram, Memento. If you want to come and see my dodgy photographs, go and have a look. If you like what you see, just give it a follow.
I can assure you they're anything but dodgy. They are rather good. So
they're okay. They're not great. They can be better.
You can find me at Adam_ or Adam-Salter4 on Blue Sky, Twitter and Instagram. And of course, you can follow the Arsenal Women Archive, where there's plenty of historical footage floating around as we enter the month of May. Still a few more cup finals to come round, so do keep an eye out for that. But that's it. That's the end of the show. Just one more WSL game to go, and then the WSL is over for another season, where sadly Arsenal have once again missed out on the title. It's 6 in a row for Chelsea, but that doesn't mean there is nothing to fight for. See you at Emirates Stadium. Come on, you Gunners.